Don't be fooled by the sun today. The weather for the last 2 to 3 weeks has been absolutely brutal. Today we'll do a farm tour, but just to show you how wet it is, I'll walk down to the new Riverside, which is beside a river, and you'll see just how wet it has been for the last 2 to 3 weeks. So we are milking between 80 and 100 cows roughly, depending on TB and replacement numbers each year on 52 acres of a grazing platform. We have an off farm where we have silage, calves and replacements. Welcome back. Now we're in the new Riverside, and oh, straight away, watch that. Come on. So water straight away in this new Riverside. Ground conditions have, like I said, deteriorated, and I am feeding 4 bales of silage now a day to the cows. And look at that. So that's the dike that we cleaned out. Full to the brim. So I don't think the cows will be into the new Riverside this year unless the weather does change in the next week or so. But I'll take you on the farm tour. I'll bring you up to the parlor where the main action happens. You wouldn't think it, but this river is actually teeming with wildlife. It needs to be cleaned out though. There is a breeding pair of swans, and they make their bank or their nest up here in this bank, and sometimes over there at the neighbour's farm. Thomas, he's a much better farmer than I am, so yeah, nested pair. I have a few clips of them and a few more of the wildlife that is on this river. So we're in the parlour where all the magic happens. It is a 20 unit swift flow parlour, sequential baling. It was built, the construction of the building itself started in December 2011, and we had it finished for I think the second week of February in 2012. Before that we were milking in an 8 unit parlour, and it was taking 2 to 2.5 hours to milk the cows, and it was becoming very laborious, very labour intensive. We just had to make the change, and it has changed the farm drastically. The father designed the sheds. He did all the concrete work. Well, he went off and he bought 6x2 concrete shutters. So we shuttered all the parlour ourselves. I suppose intensive Christmases I've ever put down. The only days we actually took off was Christmas Day and St. Stephen's Day. Every other day we were shuttering, or we were at concrete, or we were at steelwork. The quarries shut, I think it was December 14th, or it was either December 17th, I'm not too sure. But we had to have the parlour ready, so the father decided to order, I don't know how much ton of gravel, and we started mixing it by hand and filling the shutters into the mixer and into the wheelbarrow, and then wheelbarrowing in here, and you can just see probably a mistake on our half. By the time you had the shutter full, by doing it that way, the bottom of the concrete was already gone hard, and you can just see there, you can just see in the joinings. I'll just turn you around there. You see there and here. Now onto this parlour, we put the Dairy Master feeders, the dump line, and we put in a new Dairy Master bulk tank. I think it's a 10,800 litre tank. Like I said, the parlour here, it connects to the calf house. So when we are milking cows, we dump milk out to the calves, and it's sent directly next door. and I'll show you there next. So we are in the calving house now. It is filthy at the moment. I really have to power wash it and clean it out, but it's kind of used as machinery kind of shed when the calves are all reared. So individual pins, these individual pins can hold 10 calves. So they start off in single pins. They move up here then where you could have 2 or 3 in this pen. They have a bit more space, and then here you have a few more. You can fit 5 or 6 in here. The bigger pins here, so each pin here can hold 10 calves. They feed down here beside the gates, and there is a channel that leads out to the parlor wash in this tank. And so whenever you're feeding milk and you have any spillages, or you're washing out that water trough or the feed trough, at least it's going down the drain and not going onto the bedding. The calves have bedding up above there, and the straw is up above them, and you just pull it down, and it makes it easy to rebed it. So I'm just out here in the feeding passage, so I'll just turn you around there. So here on the right hand side, that's where the cows would be, and here is where our calves would be. The round tower holds about 120,000 gallons, and then obviously we have the off-farm tank as well, which holds about another 110,000 gallons. So we are fairly okay with storage at the moment, but you never know. They could increase the ban, and we might have to increase our slurry storage capacity in the near future. So we are in the calving house now. It's a bit dirty as well, like the calf house, but that's because I have the bull in here. He has access to a small bit of grass outside. It's just to keep his feet nice and healthy. But here we have, it is a 5-bay calving house. So there is 5 individual pins for calving. The reason we went for 5 was that we can convert 2 or 3 to house calves if the situation does come that we have an extra 30 or 40 calves on the farm at any given time, that we aren't short of space, that the calves are comfortable, and the calves will always be thriving. These calving gates were designed by my father. Simple, very simple. So pull this opens out, and your head locking barrier there, which he made himself as well. Loves the design and create things. Also, does anyone else have an issue with birds? You can just see the bird shit there, like. It is a massive problem that we have here. Birds seem to go into every shed, and every shed seems to get destroyed. But this shed will be cleaned. I would be thinking the next 2 or 3 weeks. Bull will be put down into the slatted house. He'll be fed silage, because, like I said, ground conditions are getting a bit worse for wear. Now, right beside the calving house, we have access to the cubicle house. So when the cows are housed at Christmas time, we have 3 access points to the calving house. So we can have the cows separated, say, from first calvers to older cows, or to animals that are close to calving. The way the father designed the farm, and it was to make the farm as close to a one-person setup as possible, and it really is so handy that you're not driving cows out in the middle of the yard. So cubicle house is connected to the calving house is connected to the cubicle house, and the cubicle house is actually the collection yard for the parlor. So in the wintry months, when it's wet and cold and all that, you are not going outside in the bad weather. Everything's under one roof, and that's the way he wanted it, and that's the way he designed it. And thankfully for me, he had the brain and the foresight to see, I suppose, the best possible layout for this farm. So I'm in the cubicle house now. I'll just turn you around. So we have 102 cubicles here in this cubicle house, and you might be saying, Jesus, it's dirty. But like I said, cows have 24 access to this cubicle house. Cows come in here at the back from the fields, and they come all the way up here and into the back of the parlour. The system was that if the shoulders of the ear ever got poor, or if there was a drought in the middle of summer, that you could feed silage before the cows came into the parlour and after they came out of the parlour, and you could also give them 24 access to it even when they're out in the field. So yeah, that's that. This shed was, I think, Jesus, now I'm going back to years now. I think it was 2002, it was resheeted. 2002 was resheeted. I think that's when the cubicles were put in. They were the mushroom cubicles, or the three-legged ones, whatever their name is. And everyone knows that between cows getting stuck in them and they're breaking, they are a nightmare. So we changed the newer cubicles back then. And yeah, obviously we extended on, we built on an extra tank as well for the parlour washings and the parlour, which obviously extended our cubicle house as well. So yeah, what else do we have around here? Let's see. So I think that's all, well, the main majority of the sheds that are anyway interesting. We have a few loose sheds for straw and hay, a few machinery sheds, but nothing too significant. I'll just show you the passageway for where the bulls are, and that was the main reason why I went to the H&M. It's a 6'6" wide, and the passage up here is, I want to say it's less than 10, so you just have a look at it. So this passage is only 10 feet wide, and that is where the beauty of the H&M over there is stood out. 6'6" wide. You could easily give a bale here to your bull pen or your bullock's pen. So just put out a bit of fertilizer on the paddocks before the closing date, and I'm just going to have a look through my 4th cut silage. There it is. It's couldn't take. Have to make a decision now. Do I cut this week while there's 3 or 4 good days, or do I let it grow a bit more, get the bulk out of it? Cut it now, obviously better quality, but if I leave it, will I get the weather? What will I do? I don't know. Decisions. And I'm back. Just had to mix a small bit of concrete there for the farm. So I just mixed about a metre there by hand. So job done now. Yeah, I suppose a bit more about myself. I went into farm partnership with the father 6 years ago. I'm 34 years old now, so definitely too old for TikTok and probably too old for YouTube, but we'll give them both a bash anyway. But yeah, I suppose that's all really. I suppose the next thing is why YouTube, why go down this path, and there's probably 3 main reasons. Reason number 1 is my daughter Brona. Seeing her face light up when she sees a cows or a tractor or anything like that, just, yeah. So rather than bringing her to the farm, I'm bringing the farm to her, and every Sunday we sit down on the couch and we watch the videos. On top of that, going home every Sunday morning and sitting down on the couch and my daughter asking me to see the videos of the farm, that makes this all really worthwhile. Reason number 2 is I like a challenge. So normally it's focused on the farm, but I just decided give YouTube a shot, give it one go, give it 6 months, see how you get on. I had the goal of 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. We're getting there, and look, it's just to get me out of this rut. And by rut, I don't mean like a bad state of mind or anything like that. But you know, when you're farming and it's the same routine over and over and over again, you get into this rut, it gets kind of monotonous. I don't know the word to describe it. And last but not least, well, 13 years ago, I was with a silage contractor, working with him part-time during the summers, and I was taking videos of him with my phone and a camera that I robbed off my sister. Don't tell her that though. And I was just making videos, putting them up on YouTube, having a bit of a crack, having a laugh. And I really enjoyed making them YouTube videos, even though they weren't that great, and these ones aren't that great. But I just enjoyed doing it, and I said, since all my time is spent here on the farm now, why not have a hobby that I can do on the farm at the same time as doing farming? Because I was getting a lot of questions out in the public. Why am I doing this? Was it for the money? Definitely not, because I'm nowhere near making anything back, not to mind the effort of doing this. And social media these days is a great way of, I suppose, advertising your farm, and I suppose showing your farm is some way transparent to the general public who don't really know what goes on behind the scenes on the farm. I think if you were to ask any, like say, teenager in secondary school or primary school what they want to be, they would say YouTube vlogger or YouTube streamer or something like that. And that is what is big these days. And so why not tap into that market and show and highlight farming in a good way, in a good light, to encourage more young people into farming. So that's this week's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do, please like and subscribe, and you will get a notification every Sunday of the latest video I will post. So thanks very much for watching. Thanks for taking the time to watch this. Enjoy your Sunday. I am going to the pattern and I'm going to have a few babies. See you later.